Welcome to this little animation on childhood trauma, abandonment, and the journey towards healing. In answering this important question from at One Truth-Seeking 8, what is the parallel equivalent for children that were not adopted, but emotionally abandoned or abandoned within a physically intact family that is filled with abuse, neglect, fear, narcissistic parents of different types? Firstly, let's explore how infants respond to trauma, abandonment, and threat. As humans, we all rely on a foundational sense of safety and identity. From birth, we're wired with automatic biological mechanisms that help us connect and form bonds through smell, voice, facial recognition, mannerisms, and even genetic similarities. These elements are critical for infants as they start the process of bonding and attachment. But what happens when these connections are disrupted, either by removal or rejection? The nervous system reacts by embedding a threat pathway into the attachment process. This pathway is fundamentally different from the natural, secure bonds we're meant to form. This is where we see the similarities with removal at birth for adoption and other pathways with how abuse and abandonment trauma impact childhood development. There are two key questions to consider when understanding this impact. First, did the child form a biological connection with their family? Second, at what age did the abuse or neglect begin? These questions are crucial because they shape how we rebuild a sense of safety and move forward. If the child did bond with their biological family but experienced betrayal through abuse, neglect, or harm, that betrayal becomes the first known trauma, a foundation we can acknowledge and work with. If the child never bonded with their biological family, the first trauma is an unknown abandonment, which requires a different approach to healing. Both scenarios influence how we address complex, early childhood traumas, which often involve multiple types and events. Healing takes time, as we must carefully work through each layer to reach the core wounds of abandonment and betrayal. At the heart of recovery is understanding and addressing abandonment and betrayal. Without this, efforts to heal often lead to patterns of transference. We subconsciously attach to therapists, within our relationships, and with support people as parental figures. This can create negative reinforcement if those internal needs aren't met, especially if they are perceived as rejected. So, how do we begin to heal? We start with nervous system known trauma disruption points, the points acknowledged through experiences of betrayal or abandonment to rebuild connection and attachment. For those who did bond with family, healing works from the perspective of a nervous system known betrayal, allowing the rebuilding of connection and trust from a known starting point. For those who never bonded, healing requires consistent physical interactions within a close, trusted group, helping the nervous system build pathways to enable healthy attachment and co-regulation. In summary, many people struggle to heal from early trauma because the wounds run deep and complex. Understanding how to build and recognize safety is the first vital step towards lasting recovery. Thank you for watching. Remember, healing is possible when we approach it with understanding, patience, and the right support.